Hey guys, it's Kusi. Welcome back to episode 2 of using our Tyrant to pimp out all of our nasty little imps in this 0 to hero Demongo Demo Warlock edition. In the last episode we went over the gearing process, had proof on why Warlock is a good spec to play, had an absolute banger of an intro, and we got incredibly lucky in our weekly hero delve item. We also had a funny little encounter of somebody trying to put in their key before I put in mine, which got him a juicy little downgrade. Stupid! Sucks to suck, brother. But of course, luck is a one-sided bitch. Wait, what?
Are you stupid or something?
So I also showed you my vault, which we're quickly gonna talk over in a hot moment, because today we are ready for all the upgrades. And that was part of it. And because we did get a +6 done before reset, we do end up with that exact key level in the vault, which means we are on track to farm hero items as well as crests very soon. Keep in mind, the goal this time is 3k rating, so we better get going. And while the pumping is strong within your boy, pause, playing mechanics is not. So without any further ado, make sure to grab a drink, get comfy, and enjoy episode 2, the road to the first checkpoint, Keystone Master. Alright, so before I show you what kind of upgrades we are having cooked up today, let's talk about the vault first. I mentioned all the wonky items I got in there. Some boots, some cloak, some trinket, and whatever the hell that is. But it's a headpiece. I know it looks like something Johnny Sins was wearing once in his life, but it's actually a hero headpiece which comes in super handy as of this week. We got 4 catalyst charges to spend. But before I just YOLO use all of my charges, I was smart for once. I did Gallywig's LFR for a potential token, which I yoinked super hard with that Net 20 WoW edition. And then I also did my weekly delve for another potential hero item in the set piece slot, which didn't happen. I swear man, this garbage trinket is just hunting me non-stop. But with that, I used 3 charges to get the 4th set we all want to have. But let's talk about this puppy and why is it so borderline insane in this season. While some sets this season seem to feel super clunky and weird, most caster sets are not that bad. All of our spells have a chance to summon a big Dreadstalker puppy that almost equals the normal 2, which is nice already, considering the damage they provide. Even more with the fact that during your demonic tyrant, this thing always procs, and with the fact that during your tyrant, they are enhanced.
Wow.
And that's already a decent source of damage itself. But now comes the fun part. The 4th set has nothing to do with RNG. Every Hand of Gul'dan you cast will trigger a Dread Bite, which is AoE, from all your active puppy at a lower effectiveness, which just means less initial damage. Now, this tooltip is a bit wrong, as the base damage is not 50% effectiveness, but 20%. It doesn't really matter since the extra scaling per soul shard is still up there, and you won't use Hand of Gul'dan with less than 3 shards anyways. But the epicness doesn't end here. You see, Dreadbite itself usually only gets cast whenever you summon your doggies, so only once. But with you being able to trigger them manually, you also will keep on triggering the bonus 20% Shadow Flame damage it provides. So you pretty much got that buff up all day, for the most part. That is insane, and the numbers are nice too. Rated Dreadstalker is about 8% of my overall damage, and then you have to add another big chunk for the half-assed Dread Bites on my normal dogs. After all, I did cast almost 200 Hand of Gul'dans in this run. Also keep in mind, the 7 million DPS you saw last video was without tier set.
I'll be damned.
So without any further yapping, let's get into keys to figure out the actual madness of this tier. By the way, this was during a live stream. However, be assured, I don't invite gamers from the stream. I at least keep on telling them to not apply, and whenever somebody with a fishy item level applies, I hesitate. And of course, I got frowned upon right away by getting the passive aggressive "maybe I watched the Warlock survive the first boss this time" comment. Bro, do you even know who you're talking to? What can I say, man? Shit game. But on another note, we are currently having another lock off, but against a destruction lock this time. We won against a Demono. Kinda. And I don't see many of those suckers, that's for sure. This prompted me to quickly focus up, trying to provide more pew pew. I also did some adjustment to my interface, pretty much just putting up an overall damage meter, I guess. And I also figured out that I need to pay more attention to multi-spreading Doom. I usually just target the highest HP mob so I can just send it without tap targeting too much. But whenever I use Demon Bolt, it also applies Doom. And if Doom runs out 5 times, it triggers a Doom Guard for some extra AoE. Back to the dungeon though, this brother packed me up on every pull. But I got the upper hand on bosses, well, as long as I stayed alive. So of course, I beat him. Easy peasy, Warlock squeezy, Demono insane confirmed. And while there are things in life that are just apparent and we all just have to live with them, like me being on top of the shards, so is also the occasional wonky decision making of tanks, which is something I was about to witness. First, I always enjoy when somebody takes a drink on the intermission, walks the entire way to the NPC on a wheelchair class just to realize they don't have it to begin with, and then justify it by saying, "Bug?" Another weird decision is to ignore the affix. When we were about to enter the next area, which usually leads into a bigger pool, the tank just ran past it, which means we weren't able to kill it properly. Don't do that. If the affix spawns, take it down and make sure you have the 20% buff for the next pack, because why not? I mean, it also gives you 10% damage reduction as tank, remember? And even though the route is a free-for-all in this dungeon, I'd still recommend doing E per second, simply because it's worth lusting this boss over Busby. But maybe that's just my opinion. There's also another reason to not bloodlust Busby, and it's as simple as humanity itself. It's greed. If there's a lust, I will pump. I don't have time to play mechanics.
Relax and take notes!
Eventually I had though, cause apparently nobody had time to play mechanics. What also doesn't help is if you, as tank, just leave the boss on top of all the dead bees, as it's really hard to click on these suckers. But, in some good news, we were so slow that we had bloodlust backup on IPA. So we didn't use it? Oh well. Maybe I'm complaining too much, since we still tied it eventually and that's all I'm asking for anyways. What I'm not asking for is some annoying little bitch boy hunter telling me to not ban the elemental that's chasing my ass during the Azeroth boss fight. Rather, I don't care if you can't AoE. There's no way in hell you're compensating for my damage, which probably gets cut in half just because your aim shot ricochets. Quick thing to mention here, as Warlock, as you can see, you can easily banish the leftover elemental and it won't do anything throughout the fight, no matter what any marksman says. I mean, look at how much I was able to pump. MM became flavor of the month, so don't listen to those suckers one tiny bit. And that's from somebody that started to play marksman on stream. We don't know shit. We are only there to crit hard, not to think. Now, did the brother do slightly more damage than me in the end? Sure. Was it on the second boss? No. Enough said. Once I finally started to do 8s instead of 7s, which pretty much just depended on the key, shit hit the fan real quick. First, we lost our healer on the second boss for no apparent reason, is what I thought. Watching back, the tank probably ran out of range and let the healer take a melee. And then I figured out that the tank indeed went out of range. I'd be lying if I say I never did this while tanking. So I quickly gave the tank the info to not walk out of melee range, and he understood, so we continued. But then there's the Candle King. Ever since Blizzard did some hotfixing on this bad boy, he hurts even more than before. Pretty sure he got nerfed since then, but this one still hit pretty hard. And what hurts even more is when the healer gets yeeted off the platform because he misses the X toss into the statue. But then it turned out pretty funny. He got sent flying, said fuck, and then out before out of the game. I thought that all of events was borderline hilarious to me, and I was happy I accidentally kept the 8 Dark Flame instead of the 7. I just always find joy in people being so ashamed of their own gameplay that they just want to leave the situation as soon as possible without giving anybody a chance to tell them that it's okay. Happens, man. Don't worry about it. And yet this left me with a funny encounter. For some reason, I trusted. A lot. Like a lot. So I invited this TK with 500 score at 3.2k main, who even had a plus 10 time. From boosting, I assume. To be fair, I could swear the in-game score said 1800 when I invited him, but now I'm not so sure anymore. Oh yes, he was also 613 item level. What was I thinking? No idea, man. But I trusted in the ancient art of the blood healing, and so this was wild as hell. I mean, I had blood DKs tanking my 10s and whatnot, but this guy was heavily undergeared and still didn't let his HP move one bit. This was crazy. And even though we managed to skip the nasty pack in front of the Candle King, it just takes forever to play for very little score, we obviously pulled it on the way down because of some wonky Warlock that has some sussy imps with a mind of their own. Yet, while we are all wiping away, our, again heavily undergeared tank, just started the card event by himself. I swear those good players play a different game compared to all of us, man. Easy 2 chests, hell, almost 3 chests if it wasn't for my imps body pulling, and we got some shitty trinket. Cool. And yet I got something better. Another DK. But this time, heavily overgeared. Let me introduce you to the guy who had 670 item level, 3k score, and who casually did an absolutely absurd amount of damage even just with 4 targets. Not with Blood is Life, but with Death Strike. I mean, look at this shit. The Druid was pumping, I was pumping, the Warrior was while he was there. And the DK just rallied the packs like they owed him money with some AoE death strikes hitting for up to 5 million. What the actual hell is going on? For any of you interested, I took a screenshot of his talents. He mentioned that it's a gameplay though, and he's rocking 30% haste alongside 53% mastery, and he probably also had this priest giving him PI whenever, as they were premates. But this is still a stupid amount of damage, man. He didn't even have any stat steroids or trinkets. What can I say, man? I was mind blown at this kind of damage. I barely could keep up with him on bosses, and mind you, I was doing some solid damage every now and then. To be fair, this was borderline annoyingly easy, and it just furthermore enhances my theory of tanks being the make it or break it factor in every key these days. I had 2.4 mil DPS overall, but the damn tank had 2.8 instead. Shit is crazy. He tried to explain to me how the damage happens, but to be honest, I don't even know what these spells mean or do. But maybe you will. Let me know how much overall damage you did so far on your tanks. With this, I also had every key timed on 6 or above, besides Priory. And what do we know? Lucky. Or was I? Because at this point, it was after 2 AM on Europe, which means reset hits soon. So what are the odds of me getting people to actually... Oh damn! Alright. Now in an honest review, as a DPS player, I like Priory a lot. Almost every pull has so many targets that you can just do an unholy amount of damage just like that. What I did like was the combination of Arcane Mage and Feral in my party, with only Tyrannical being active, as some packs died so fast I couldn't even do shit. I mean, this brother hit a 14 million Arcane Barrage on some target, and I'ma just go ahead and assume it's one that takes a more increased damage, even though I have no idea which one that may be. To be fair, at this point I was more amazed at what level of gamers I was meeting this late before reset, even just doing +7 keys. And besides a few pulls where all of us just completely escalated damage to a dumb degree, there wasn't much to show in here. Another 3 chest, I did 2.8 mil overall, which I think is not bad for my item level, but then again, it's not even close compared to that. Man, I can't wait for some bigger gear upgrades in the future. But with me receiving a Dark Flame Clef key 25 minutes before server restarts, I started to calculate. Bruh.